New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani just wrapped up his high-stakes meeting with the president.
Reporters were brought in as the meeting concluded, with the president even clapping Mamdani on the shoulder, saying the two had a great conversation.
From New York City to Washington, D.C., we have team coverage here. Let's begin with Jessica Moore with the latest at the White House. Jessica?
Well, Christine and Dick, the two met for about 30 minutes, and complimentary is an understatement. Watching them in the Oval Office, the president and Zohran Mamdani seemed absolutely charmed with each other. At one point, President Trump even told reporters Mamdani could end up being the best mayor that New York City has ever seen.
I just want to congratulate. I think you're going to have hopefully a really great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am.
Call it a not-so-temporary truce.
I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together.
Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and President Trump burying the hatchet during their first meeting, abandoning the name-calling and divisive rhetoric. The mayor-elect seemed to relish his first test of diplomacy on the national stage, smiling and laughing as they spoke about common ground.
When I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
The president, who threatened to pull federal funding if Mamdani won, now saying he and the mayor-elect are aligned on many issues, like keeping New York City safe.
So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and...
Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would, especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
It really was a dramatic about-face, the two promising to work together to ensure the success, safety, and affordability of New York City. Live at the White House, Jessica Moore, CBS News, New York.
Jessica, have we learned from Mamdani's team how he prepared for this meeting with the president today?
Well, as recently as last night, which I told you, KJ, his team was saying no meeting scheduled. We can now confirm that Mamdani spoke by phone with multiple high-level officials, Governor Hochul, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and AOC, to get advice about how to handle this meeting. And while we don't know the substance of those calls, clearly, based on what we saw in the Oval Office, he got some good advice.
And Jess, we know Mamdani and the president have thrown some serious jabs at each other. The president mentioned despot. We heard commie. Obviously, that must have come up.
It did. It came up in the sound that you heard in my piece there. It also came up again. And as the president is known to do when he doesn't want his guests to feel uncomfortable, the president actually answered for Mamdani when another reporter tried to get him to talk about the insults that he had waged at the president. He basically let him off the hook. They really wanted to shift the focus back to where they align, not the insults of the past. Dick and Christine?
All right, Jessica, reporting on the first meeting between New York City's mayor-elect and the president, live from the White House. Let's get more on this meeting, shall we?
Yes, from political reporter Marcia Kramer. Marcia, this was maybe what we didn't expect.
Well, actually, I'm not surprised at all. But remember, I not only covered Zohran Mamdani when he was running for mayor, but I covered him when he was in the assembly. And I found him to be a very pragmatic and careful politician. And so I think that he went there knowing that he had to make a friend of Donald Trump for this reason. He can't get his agenda passed if he has troops marching down Fifth Avenue and he has to deal with more ICE agents. And he can't do his budget if he's going to have a huge chunk in it caused by, a loss of federal funds. So he knew he had to make him his friend. And I think that he did that. And I think that the advice probably that made the most sense to him came from Governor Hochul, because the governor had tried repeatedly to get along with the president, and I think she gave him some tips on how to do it.
What are the factors, Marcia, that you think that allowed for this meeting to progress so well today between these two men?
I'm going to call it enlightened self-interest on both their parts. I think both of them had a lot riding on this meeting.
Sure did.
And I think that, look, the president has picked a lot of fights with mayors around the country. He doesn't need a fight with the mayor of New York City, who has the media spotlight, not only in New York City, but the international media spotlight. This is not something President Trump wants. And besides this, remember this is his hometown. He may be living in Florida. This is his hometown. He has a lot of real estate interests here. And if Mr. Mamdani does not succeed as mayor, it's going to help him. It's going to hurt the president in his pocketbook.
And he really enjoyed he said it. He said, I've never seen a crowd like this when they bring in heads of state. So he appreciated Mamdani bringing the crowd in.
Well, the president of the United States does appreciate a spotlight. I think that's an understatement.
Was there anything that surprised you, though?
Here's the one thing that surprised me is when the president admitted that he said, being mayor of New York City is a, quote, big deal. And I always wanted to be mayor myself.
Oh, see, I heard that too, Marcia, and I thought, what is this?
So, you know, I just want to hold out one thing. You know, he is term limited.
That's right. That's where we're going.
He could have yet another political career right here in New York City.
So someone could have another job and then run for mayor. It sounds familiar to me, just a little bit, right? Didn't we play this movie already?
Another trip down the escalators there at Trump Tower. We'll see. Right. Marcia, thank you. And by the way, we do have a live blog following the updates between Mamdani and the president. Just visit our website, cbsnewyork.com.